As the sun rose over Los Angeles this week, the tension around Luna Nozawa's dark descent reached a fever pitch, setting the stage for one of the most explosive turnarounds the bold and the beautiful has ever seen, an event that will test loyalties, fracture families, and leave more than one character fighting for survival. Luna, whose vendetta against those she holds responsible for her torment has only grown more ruthless, teeters on the brink of a deadly shooting, and just when the cliff's edge seems closest. The prodigal daughter of Forrester Creations returns in the form of Dr. Bridget Forrester, portrayed once again by Ashley Jones, whose own history of battling inner demons and healing broken spirits makes her arrival on Wednesday, July 9th and Thursday, July 10th more than timely. It is pivotal. Alongside Bridget stands Dr. Grace Buckingham, brought to life by Cassandra Creech, who likewise expands her screen presence on those same July episodes. And together these two brilliant physicians must race against the clock to stitch the wounds of Luna's fury back together, if that fury doesn't consume them first. From the moment Luna's finger tightens on the trigger, the chaos explodes. 3 people will be struck by gunfire in a whirlwind of panic and betrayal, and the question hanging over every scene is who will survive and who will succumb, for July sweeps demand high stakes and even higher drama. The choices are staggering. Will Luna herself be the victim of a bullet meant for someone else? Will her grandmother, the indomitable Sheila Sharp, step in to protect her bloodline and end up bleeding for it? Or will Steffi Forrester, ever the guardian of her loved ones, throw herself into danger and pay the ultimate price? As bodies fall and paramedics scream, all 3 injured parties are rushed to the emergency ward, where Dr. Bridget's steady hands and boundless compassion join forces with Dr. Grace's fierce intelligence to wage a battle against time. But they will not stand alone. Dr. Lee Finnegan, Naomi Matsuda's formidable creation, receives more airtime than ever during the week of July 7th to 11th, and viewers will see her torn between aiding her fellow surgeons in the operating room and remaining steadfast at Finn's side as he grapples with the fallout of Luna's vengeance. Lee's presence is both a balm and a burden. She must lend her surgical expertise to save the gunshot victims while shielding her son from the truth of how far Luna has fallen, all without allowing her own rising fury to cloud her judgment. In waiting rooms lined with anxious faces, Carter Walton steps forward in his new role as stepfather to Hope and Beth, offering vows of protection that ring hollow in the face of such carnage. Yet even his unwavering resolve may not be enough to keep Hope from spiraling as she hears the names of the wounded. Bill Spencer, haunted by his decision to free Luna from prison, paces the halls in self-reproach, knowing that every bullet fired is a testament to the risks he courted in his mercy. Meanwhile, Katie and Brooke Logan cling to each other, the matriarchs caught in a web of guilt, fear, and fierce maternal love. Back on the cliffside where the shooting ignited, security cameras mysteriously cut out just before the first shot rang out, leaving Bridget and Grace to rely on their own tenacity and forensic acumen to piece together the truth. As they race through diagnostics, blood counts, and neuroscans, whispers circulate that not everyone will make it out alive. And when one life is lost on the operating table, the remaining doctors must steel themselves for the possibility of another fatal outcome before the week is done. Amid the blare of ventilators and the hum of life-saving machinery, Luna's path towards redemption or utter destruction intertwines with the futures of those she set out to punish. But as the body count mounts and the moral complexities deepen, one fact remains indisputable. When the dust settles, the Forrester, Logan, Spencer, Walton nexus will never be the same. The return of Dr. Bridget Forrester and the expanded role of Dr. Grace Buckingham not only promise tense surgical showdowns, but also foreshadow emotional reckonings, moments of confession, forgiveness, and perhaps even a glimmer of hope for Luna as she confronts the wreckage she has wrought. Yet for every life savable with a scalpel and a stitch, there is another that might slip through the surgeon's fingers, dangling by a thread of disbelief and regret. As viewers tune in on July 9th and 10th, they will witness not just the rerun of beloved characters, but the unleashing of a tragedy so profound that it will echo through every future storyline. A tragic reminder that in the world of the bold and the beautiful, healing comes at a cost. Redemption is never guaranteed, and the most dangerous weapon of all can be the human heart unbound by love or loyalty. In the smoldering aftermath of a daring jailbreak, as the convoy's sirens faded into the night and moonlight danced on the cracked asphalt, Luna Nozawa enacted the most audacious ruse of her life. A staged inferno so convincing that even the hardened guards believed they had lost both prisoner and evidence to the flames. As the transport van's window exploded outward in a cascade of sparks, an illusion sparked by Luna's careful placement of incendiary gel, she slipped free of her shackles with a surgeon's precision, trading uniforms with an unsuspecting fellow escapee whose blank eyes reflected the flicker of the fabricated blaze. In that moment of orchestrated chaos, Luna's dark silhouette vanished into the underbrush, her identity consumed by the billowing smoke, while the prison guards fumbled with their radios, convinced they had witnessed her immolation. Yet even as concrete and steel burned in the deceptive fireball, Luna's salvation lay not only in flames, but in the unwavering obsession of one woman. Sheila Sharp, her grandmother and self-appointed guardian, whose fractured love for her granddaughter drove her to collude in this deadly masquerade. Blinded by her fierce devotion, Sheila had sacrificed every shred of caution when she intercepted Luna's meticulously encoded messages from her cell, crumbled scraps of paper passed hand to hand by trustless accomplices, and offered her own passport as collateral. Late one moonless night, beneath the wavering glow of a single hallway bulb, Sheila handed over the forged documents, her hands trembling as she traced the letters of Luna's new alias. "This is how I protect you," she whispered, her voice heavy with both defiance and regret, as the jail's administrative doors clicked shut behind the unwitting guard who accepted the swap. For Sheila, the line between salvation and damnation had blurred long ago. Her faith in Luna's innocence or her own grand design now overrode every moral boundary, leaving an indelible stain on the Forrester legacy. Meanwhile, Steffi Forrester paced the sterile corridors of Los Angeles Memorial Hospital, her designer heels echoing against linoleum tile as she replayed the security footage that should have exonerated Luna. After weeks of surveillance, every frame had pointed to Luna's path of vengeance. Yet now, with the prison records ablaze and the van's manifest reduced to ash, there was no evidence left to trace. Determined to protect Hayes, whom Luna had grown to see not merely as a pawn but as a son in her fractured heart, Steffi resolved to stay at his bedside until dawn. As the surgical staff wheeled the young boy from recovery to the private ward, Steffi's heart clenched at the sight of the nurse assisting him. Her posture familiar, the tilt of her head and that soft, knowing chuckle that had once echoed through the Forrester living room on happier afternoons. Steffi's gaze narrowed, the soft banter between nurse and patient stirring a memory. That laugh, once warm and unguarded, belonged to none other than Olivia Spencer, Liam's cousin, whose supposed exile to Milan had been the result of a family dispute no one had spoken of for months. Olivia's unexpected reappearance, cloaked in scrubs and feigned anonymity, set off alarms in Steffi's mind. What role might she play in Luna's elaborate escape? Was she a silent conspirator, a bridge between Luna's vendetta and the powerful forces within the Spencer empire? Or had she returned to atone for long-buried sins and found herself drawn to Hayes's bedside by nothing more than compassion? Steffi could not know, but as Olivia brushed a stray lock of hair from Hayes's forehead and murmured encouragement in a voice all too familiar, she realized that every secret kept in the Forrester, Spencer alliance was now on the brink of exposure, along with the fragile peace that had held them together. Back at the clandestine safe house, hidden within the winding alleys of downtown LA, Luna shed her former skin like a serpent casting off an old scale. In the small, unlit room littered with discarded passports and counterfeit IDs, she stared at her reflection in a cracked mirror, her eyes stinging with triumph and sorrow in equal measure. Each new identity carried the weight of her choices: the prisoners she'd manipulated, the guns she'd fired, the bodies she'd left behind. Yet the most haunting specter was the memory of Hayes's tear-filled eyes when she'd vanished beneath the roar of flames. Had she sacrificed herself for him, or had she abandoned him once more to chase her own survival? Guilt threatened to unravel her resolve, but as she slipped on a simple black dress, a borrowed garment that would carry her into a new life, she steeled herself against the past she had burned away. At dawn, the hospital waiting room became a theater of grief and unresolved tension. Bill Spencer, eyes bloodshot from sleepless nights, clutched a stained handkerchief as Katie Logan cradled his shoulder with quiet empathy. Between the two of them, the weight of Luna's transgressions had become a family burden, one so massive that neither apology nor anger seemed sufficient to lift it. When Steffi finally emerged, her sharp silhouette framed by the sliding glass doors, Bill rose with a mixture of hope and dread. "Is he began, only to have Steffi's silence speak volumes. Liam's bullet wound was healing, surgeons assured them, but the psychological scars on Hayes, on Luna's victims, on every tormented soul caught in the crossfire, would take far longer to mend. As the sun climbed higher, casting long beams through the hospital's pillars, unspoken questions hung in the air. Where had Luna vanished to? Who else had aided in her escape? And how long before the truth about the fake death, the swapped identities, the grandmother's complicity would surface and rend the fragile alliances of those who called themselves family? The answers lay buried in the ashes of the convoy, in the code-filled letters Sheila had burned alongside her conscience, and in the gentle laugh that still echoed in the corridors. Olivia's laughter, a reminder that in the world of the bold and the beautiful, no secret could remain hidden forever, and the only certainty was that when the final act played out, every life would bear the scars of Luna Nozawa's relentless quest for freedom.